Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining us on another day of Coast Life. We're your hosts. I'm Paige Marley.
I'm Leah Rizzo, and yes, our set is a little bit different.
Yeah.
We're sort of in that weird time period now that all of the hoopla of Christmas is past and feels a little empty.
It does, doesn't it? And I was thinking when we came in today, it feels so empty. What are we missing? But I really think it's because we had so much Christmas.
I think, yeah.
It's just we're dialing it back a little
Yeah,
bit.
we're just getting into winter mode.
Right. Yeah.
Hibernation mode, if you will.
What are you doing at your house? Do you still have your Christmas tree up?
No, we took it down. We have the Christmas lights still up around the window, but I know.
I still have mine up.
I was on the fence about keeping mine up or not. I just feel like sometimes the time just gets away from you these days, you know? Like you're like, yeah, I'll take it down next weekend, and then 3 weeks go by and you're like, I'll take it down next month.
It has stayed up till Valentine's Day before. I think that's the latest it's been, and then it's stayed up even more because it's taken apart. But then I need someone to help me get it on the top shelves of my garage.
Yeah.
So it's until my dad visits next that I really put it away.
Yeah, so I think I normally try to get it down before my birthday, but so next weekend would be the only other option, really. Nice. So talked a lot about New Year's resolutions lately as we gear up for what is now 2024. You made it, congrats.
Yay.
But it turns out that actually there's a lot of adults, and especially millennials, it seems, that just aren't making New Year's resolutions at all this year.
I've seen that actually because I love asking people what the resolutions are because I put a lot of thought into mine, and it's kind of been a letdown this year.
Yeah.
I asked my co-anchor in the morning, Matt Pensick, first alert meteorologist Bob Trihey. He's not really, Bob said he's going to try to get more fit, but not like really making one. Yeah, no one's really making them. It's kind of depressing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's because there's probably been many, many years of not really seeing success from making New Year's resolutions, but I think it's part of the problem is that we don't make specific ones. I know I've been guilty of that almost every year up until now of making, sort of a vague, oh, I'm going to get healthy, oh, I'm going to get fit, oh, I'm going to do X, but without a real goal in mind. Where like right now I'm thinking like, okay, I want that summer bod. I want to be stronger. I want to be healthier. So I'm going to make it happen.
There you go. I believe in you.
I've been doing it.
I need that kind of motivation. If I say like, oh, I'm going to get fit, and someone says like, oh, good luck, you probably won't. I'm going to be like, no, you're right, I probably won't. I need like the positive reinforcement. So we'll help each other.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm here for you. So I went shopping, to get some cute workout clothes because it's a lot easier to work out if you're looking cute,
100%.
way easier. And ran into Barbara. She was like, hey, do I see you on TV? I was like, yes, you do, Barbara. So she watches Coast Life. Barbara, thank you.
Love that. Hey,
really
Barbara.
Appreciate it.
I wonder if she was shopping for clothes for her New Year's resolution.
She may have been. I know as I was checking out, they're like, oh, getting fit for the new year. I'm like, I've already started.
Yes.
Like, good for you.
Yes, we aren't done talking about New Year's resolutions. We are for a minute, but I think later today too, we're going to be talking about what your New Year's resolutions are if you're making them. But maybe we could expand it too if you aren't making them. On our Facebook, we asked what they are, but let us know on there too. I just want to see the ratio of who's making them, who's not this year. Just go to our Coast Life Facebook page. It's all right there.
That's right. We'd love to hear from you there.
Yes.
And one more thing before we kind of dive into the show, I thought this one was sort of fun and funny and got me thinking, especially as my man and I, we've been doing some home improvement projects around the house. And they say on average, people keep an average of 4 items that are purely just for show to like show off to your guests when you have them.
I love this. And as soon as you said it, I started thinking about like, what do I have that I don't use? And I'm like, oh, there's nothing. I don't think I have anything. Oh, yes, I do. I have this, my house is very neutral. A lot of like brown tones right now and white tones. And I bought a pink vase that I'm pretty sure was like broken on one side. But I was like, I need a pop of color. And there's nothing in the vase. It's just pink because I thought people were going to come in and think I was like sad beige girl. I definitely have like succulents and plants. So people think I'm like earthy. I'm not. They're all dead.
I guess, I do have a lot of plants. They're alive, but they don't really do anything. They are just there for show, and I do like it when people come in and they're like, wow, your plants. And I'm like, thanks. Our house is kind of small, so like pretty much everything serves a purpose. I have a lot of artwork.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that I have painted, but like that's not really for show. It's just up there because I don't know, my guy likes to celebrate my work, which I appreciate, but it's also like low-key embarrassing.
I do have a blanket that is actually for show. So I love a good throw blanket. When I get home from work, pajamas, throw blanket, TV. That's what I do. I love it. I have, the only ones I use though really are this cheetah print one I have and a Gryffindor Harry Potter one that I have. But that doesn't match the aesthetic, right? So I have this like black and white checkered one that has like some cheesy saying on it, and I fold that one up and I lay it out when guests come, and the other blankets go away.
Yeah, I
So
mean, all
guess
my
I do.
seasonal decor, that's all stuff that I go through that isn't really for anybody but guests when I get excited to switch over for the season. So like my little welcome sign, whatever garland. We have this light that's in like the corner of the room and it's on a post. So like I always wrap some sort of seasonal garland around it. Like those don't serve a purpose.
Well, we love them.
But yeah, they were talking things like a bar, things like, I don't know.
A bar makes sense, actually.
A bar makes sense because you really only use it when there's guests, but like at least it's being used then.
We have a bar in our basement area, and every time, which is most weekends, right, when I want to drink some wine, I go down and I get this wine glass, and then the wine glass stays upstairs because I'm not going to go in the basement to refill the wine glass all weekend, but except for when we have guests. This wine glass that just sits on the counter until we have guests. I wash it and stick it on the bar.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like extra plates I would like to have for guests that would solely be like, here you go, like my show off like seasonal plates, but I'm not there yet.
Okay, that's okay.
Goals.
Yeah, yes. Hey, you want to hear real quick? I was going to say a goal, but it wasn't. It was more of a what I was thinking would happen in 2024. Real quick note for you. We talked about Gypsy Rose, who is now out of prison, and I said, I hope she writes a book. Imagine my surprise when she put on her Instagram that there's a book release coming out.
There you go. Listen to
saying.
Paige for all your fortune-telling needs.
We did give pop culture predictions yesterday.
That's right.
So we'll see. I'm on a roll. I'm have one down so far.
We'll see how many of those come true.
All right, yep.
For now, though, we know that Coast Life is headed your way. Lots of fun. Our
Yes.
field correspondent, Maya Henry, is going to tell you what's coming up on the show.
Coming up today on Coast Life, planning for the weekend ahead, we're keeping you safe with weather predictions from Coast TV's First Alert Weather Team. And sticking to the motto, New Year, New You, our hosts have some inspiring resolutions for you to add to your list. Plus, searching for some feel-good news stories, meet Coast TV's Tori Seagraves for all your community insights. All that and more when Coast Life gets back.
Coast Life is brought to you by BB Healthcare, Coastal Comfort Heating and Air Conditioning, Preston Automotive Group, Shell Brothers, and the Parker Group.
If you guys have turned on the TV really anytime this week, you probably heard one of our first alert meteorologists talking about a storm that is coming in just a few days. So to explain a little bit more and answer some questions you may have, we have one of my favorite meteorologists here.
Thank you
First
very
alert
much.
meteorologist Bob Trihe. Bob, thanks for doing this today.
Well, no problem. Not a problem at all,
We
Paige.
appreciate it so
No,
much.
sure.
So what should we know first about this storm that's coming our way? What do you want people to know?
What I want people to know is that it's a coastal storm. Is it the storm to end all storms? I don't think so. I don't think we're looking at a monster storm. But that said, you know, we see coastal storms a lot across the Delmarva, and we're looking at one as we go into the weekend. Now, what I want to show you is this is what we know so far, Paige. A weekend coastal storm is on the way.
Okay.
When is it going to happen? Probably later Saturday night into early Sunday. We're looking at mainly rain and wind. Something we see a lot with coastal storms. Maybe an inch or so of rain, maybe winds 30 to 40 miles per hour. We think it's going to track along the east coast. Right along the coast, that means it's going to bring an easterly wind off the ocean and warmer air. So that means our precipitation, mainly rain. And then coastal issues, we see that a lot with an easterly wind. We're talking inundation along the coast, maybe a coastal flood advisory, something along those lines. So that's what we're looking at. So here's Futurecast as we go into Saturday morning. This is 11:30, and we're still looking at dry conditions at that time. So if you have those outdoor chores you have to do, we're still looking dry. But then here comes the rain through Norfolk and the Tidewater, and it spreads into Delmarva as we go into the afternoon. And look at DC. They're getting into snow. And we talked about this snow drought before.
Yeah, the snow drought. Can you explain what that is? I never heard of a snow drought before.
Well, I know for the big cities, they have about 600 to 700 days without measurable snow in DC and New York. That's like 2 years, but that's going to end for them because we think this might be an I-95 snowstorm. DC, Philly, New York, they could see 4 to 8 inches of snow, but for us, that easterly wind keeps the rain keeps it wet. So it's wet and windy as we go into Saturday night and Sunday while it's snowing through DC and New York and Long Island and up into New England. So it looks like their snow drought is over. That could end as some cold rain for us as we go into Sunday morning, and then maybe some flurries off to the north. And then we've got another system coming which could be stronger as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay, so we have a lot to prepare for. We need our umbrellas. We need maybe our rain boots and snow boots even, depending on where you are.
Right, exactly. exactly. So we could see an inch, inch and a half from the first system, and then you add the second system, which is Tuesday and Wednesday, and a grand total of perhaps up close to 4 inches of rain in some places. So that's what we're looking at, maybe a waterlogged Delmarva as we go into next week.
Definitely. And I'm glad you showed us too, because a lot of people, especially on the weekends when the storm is coming, they travel. I know I go to the DC area most weekends, so safe driving. Do you think we should try to stay off the roads altogether?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
Later Saturday into Sunday morning, that's a time to stay off the roads, travel maybe earlier, maybe Friday evening into Saturday morning, or delay travel till later Sunday into Monday, because we're looking at rain across Delmarva. And if you're traveling west and north to the big cities, that's where we could be looking at some snow.
Okay, perfect. I want to ask you one more question about snow. The snow droughts, you said, hitting some of those major cities. We shouldn't see too much on Delmarva. We're going to see rain. But what are you thinking? I know you're not a fortune teller, but what are you thinking snow-wise for the rest of the winter? Do you think we'll finally get some?
I think we will down the road. The rest of January looks cold.
Okay.
And it does look like, you know, the track's not favorable now for snow for Delmarva, but come later January into February with our El Nino pattern, I think it's certainly a possibility. We could be looking at measurable snow right here along the coastal areas in Delmarva. So if you have that snow shovel, I know I have one in storage, keep it handy, because even though we're seeing rain from these next 2 storms, snow might be on the way later in the winter.
Definitely. Well, good to know, Bob. Thank you. Definitely prepare, because this red, I know it looks scary, but that is why we have our First Alert meteorologist here to help you walk through it and prepare for storms like this weekend. And don't forget about Tuesday, Tuesday into Wednesday, right?
Yes.
I see it right there. Awesome. All right. Well, Bob, thank you so much and for being here today and explaining all this for us.
Sure.
All right. And of course, if you have any more questions, if this is scaring you a little bit, don't let it. Every morning, Bob is on 5 to 7 on Coast TV News. And we have, of course, a full staff of amazing meteorologists to keep you safe. Bob, thanks again. And thank you guys. We have more Coast Life coming your way. Leah, an important question. Is your Christmas tree still up?
No, we took it down over the weekend.
That's okay. No,
We
that's
did New
reasonable.
Year, fresh space.
That's good. That's good. I still have all 3 of mine up.
The lights are still up.
Oh, there you go.
So we're still a little festive.
Yeah, I love that. If your tree is still up, not if you have fake trees like me, if you have your real tree still up, it can be a bother taking it down. We don't have anyone to clean up all the pine needles for you, but we do have Tori Seagraves in the house. Hey, Tori.
Hi, guys.
Tori's with Coast TV News, of course. You probably recognize her. And Tori, you recently did this really cool story helping people who have live trees get rid of them now that the holidays are over.
Yes, but the main focus of the story was getting rid of them in an even eco-friendly way.
Yes. We love
So if you have a real tree and you don't want to just throw it into the dumpster or don't have a dumpster to throw it in, a really fun way to do it that kind of gets the family involved too in certain cases is taking it to your local farm and giving it as a little snack, kind of like our pumpkin story that I did in October.
Yes.
Just to feed it to the goats, the cows, they love to munch on it, and even chickens like to peck at it and play with it.
Oh, that's so sweet. I never thought of the chickens wanting to play with it, but you shouldn't just take the tree and kind of just throw it over the fence of your nearest farm, right?
No,
Okay.
no. So some farms, like the farmer Laura Ritter at Goat Joy tells me that she doesn't want to feed Christmas trees to her goats simply because some of the more commercially bought trees can have things like toxins and colorants on them, which could be very dangerous for the animals. So she errs on the side of caution. While it can be a really nice treat, it's something you have to be very particular about.
Sure. So there are going to be some farms that might have a few more restrictions on whether or not they'll take the tree.
Yes, absolutely. So if you are going to donate your tree, don't throw it over the fence for them and feed it to them yourselves. Talk to the farmer first, get the clear by them, then go ahead and turn into a family event like they say at the Little Farm. They have families come, drop off their trees after checking in with the owners, and they make a whole event out of it, see all the other animals they have there.
Very fun.
Something funny I thought when I saw your story too is you were like, take the ornaments off first.
Yes.
So let's just remind people in case they get a little too excited to turn those trees away, what should they do before they give it away?
Yes, so if you have hooks or ornaments or especially tinsel, those kinds of things can really back up the animal's system, according to the farmer. So we don't want to have those still lingering on the trees. And I know those hooks are kind of pesky sometimes. It's hard to keep track of all of them. And I know I lose them every year. Yes. But try to make sure as much as possible that they aren't on the tree so that they don't get stuck and give an upset tummy to some of those animals.
That would hurt. Those metal hooks?
Ooh,
you know, those
not
little
what you
green
want.
ones?
Yeah.
Never.
Which one?
No, something else that's funny. Again, you would think, right? Like, this is all you know this, but there were some people in the comments of your story saying like, well, can I just like go throw my fake tree? No.
So if you have a fake tree, that's not something that can be recycled. That is something that's a little kind of on the wall of what can be recycled and what can't, because so many things go into it.
Right.
But DNREC is also doing different tree collections across the state. So if you do have a real tree, then you can take it to them also. But as far as your artificial trees go, that's something that unfortunately ends up in landfill.
It's true. I mean, the idea behind the artificial tree is that you take it down and put it back up the next year. Yes. So you shouldn't need to recycle it unless, you know, it's been many, many years of decorating the same tree. But this is also a good time of year to consider what to do with the tree. Obviously, the holidays are over, but it's also the time that we tend to stop taking care of the tree. We stop watering the tree. So it can actually be dangerous to have it in your home as well.
Yes. I know firefighters say that it can become a hazard to have such a dry, large tree in your house. It could be the start of fires and things like that. So it's a safety concern for sure. So don't leave it up for too long. Get rid of it the right way, and one that will help the environment in the long run.
Perfect. Tori, thanks for doing stories like this. It's always fun having you on. I do want to put you on the spot for a second.
Sure.
All this show, and really yesterday as well, we've been talking New Year's resolutions.
Oh gosh.
What is your New Year's resolution? Do you have one?
You know, every year I do try to make a resolution, but this year I told myself my resolution is going to be to not make a resolution. And I think that comes from a mental health standpoint. I don't want to set any expectations for myself, but I do want to have a good year. So just kind of giving myself the room to grow and to experience new things without giving myself any strict limitations.
Perfect.
We love it. And Leah told us earlier too, a lot of adults are doing that.
That's true.
Not making resolutions. So
True.
Tori, always so much fun for having you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right. Hey, you guys can see Tori pretty often on Coast TV News, but right now you can watch more Coast Life. We'll be right back.
Last time we talked to the folks at Prasino Wells and Woodland, they told us how much family matters to them, which is why Michelle has been so kind to invite me into her home with her family to cook a meal today.
At Prasino Wells and Woodland, elder law, estate, and legacy planning are what they do, but the reason they do it is family. Michelle Prasino Wells was kind enough to give us a glimpse into her own family and why she loves doing what she does, all over a homemade dinner.
So we are making, it's actually my grandmother's recipe. We're making pasta sauce, tomato sauce.
Nice.
A meat sauce. So we're gonna brown the meat, we're gonna add the tomatoes, the herbs, all of that. But we're also making homemade meatballs, which is also my grandmother's recipe.
Amazing, delicious. I have a family recipe as well, but I don't know if your family is like this. My family never measured anything. It's all just like, yeah, you know, put a little water in there, throw a little garlic in there. You're like, how much though? And
I have a written recipe from my grandmother on my mom's side for an applesauce cake, and it calls for butter the size of a walnut.
For many, family dinner is where everyone really gets to know each other and catch up on each other's lives. Michelle's family is no exception, and as time goes on, lives get busy. Gathering the family can be a bit of a challenge.
Well, it's hard, as everyone has gotten older, the kids. So we made it a project this winter to try to get together on Sundays.
Oh, that's awesome.
Really, as sort of, I wanted to do it sort of as some legacy planning for my parents and family to capture all these recipes that my grandmother made, that now my dad makes, and my mom. So we've done a lot of Sundays during the winter, and otherwise we get together for birthdays, holidays, and so we try as much as possible.
From Michelle's parents, Pat and Rita, to her brother, sons, nieces, nephews, and extended family, the entire Prasino Wells bunch plays a part in bringing this family recipe to life.
This is my mother-in-law's recipe, and she always said, too, that just put some in and taste it. Well, a Sussex County farm girl who is not Italian really didn't know what it was supposed to taste like.
sauce here is homemade, right?
Yep.
So what goes into making the homemade sauce?
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes, just tomatoes. Any other seasoning or anything?
Just salt.
There's some basil.
And well, after you fill the jar, you put a couple basil leaves in the top of it.
Okay.
And yeah.
Good luck, good measure.
Of course, it's not a pasta dinner without the sauce. Dessert is a family recipe passed down by Michelle's great Aunt Nancy. While the grown-ups finish cooking, the kids help set the table. Before Michelle's family sits down to eat, they gather to say a brief thanks.
Bow your heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, bless the food we're about to eat. Thank you for the blessings you've bestowed on this family. Thank you for our guests, our family today. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Don't miss any of your favorite Coast Life moments. Hang out with us on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We're there. And don't forget, you can find full episodes of Coast Life at coastlife.com. There's more Coast Life on the way.
Leah, we've been talking a good bit because it's the new year.
That's right.
About New Year's resolutions. We've shared ours.
Yes.
Our more realistic ones and our more not so realistic ones.
The ones that kind of everybody goes for, the be a better person, deep thinking, like, oh, I'm going to be healthy,
blah.
I'm going to eat well, the vague ones.
The boring ones. Just kidding. Because we're doing those too. But we asked you guys on our Facebook what your New Year's resolutions were. And some of you did not disappoint. Some of you were funny.
Yes.
Some of you weren't.
Some of you were cryptic.
Yeah. We are going to pull our phones out and show you. So,
That's
Leah,
right.
what are people saying on our Facebook?
So, well, you had said this earlier today, or maybe it was even yesterday.
I think it was yesterday.
That you're not going to wait 2 weeks to unpack your suitcases.
Maybe like 1 week. I do have a suitcase right now from this weekend. It'll be unpacked by Friday.
Yeah, Brian just said that he had made some New Year's resolutions, but didn't necessarily expand on what those were.
Yeah, Brian, I replied, I'm like,
Brian,
what are they?
we want to know.
He just said yes.
He's leaving us in mystery.
That's okay.
Ashley said, and I love to hear this one, Ashley, to paint more and to get to our art studio in Rehoboth.
That's similar to yours.
That is similar to mine. In fact, I was
that.
doing some painting the other night.
Amazing. Get more into your creative side. Another person said to set a goal to allow God to be in his life, more love. So religion. I think that's actually a pretty popular one. Getting more in touch with that. My mom said she's going to read daily and drink a lot more water.
Those are both really, really good ones. I know that the Coast Life team needs to get hydrated a little bit more. I worry about our guys.
The other day, I realized I came into work and I told them, the day before I had a coffee and 3 Diet Cokes, and that was all I put in my system.
No.
It was bad.
Were you shaking?
I know. I slept fine. I didn't even have a headache, but I woke up the next day. I'm like, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah. Got it. I think those are good for everybody. I want to read more myself. I feel like I leave a lot of my reading until summertime. I know we'll be talking to our friends at Browse About later next week, especially when it comes to some easy reads. I think sometimes it gets intimidating when you get like deep in a book and it's really, really long and you're like, oh, I'm never going to finish this. But like filling your time and padding it out with some of those just like quick, easy, cozy reads is a good way to get that goal.
Yeah, at least everyone except for Brian just gave realistic goals.
Maybe Brian's are realistic, but we'll never know.
You know
Brian,
what, though? He's so funny because we were like, did you set plans? And he's just said, yes.
Love it.
Love it. Leave it at that. Maybe your New Year's resolution is to, this doesn't sound nice, I was going to say look better. But, you know, freshen up your do is a better way of saying that.
I think so. Well, I think sometimes, you know, when you freshen yourself up, you feel a little bit better too. When you're looking good, you feel good.
Yes.
We all know that. That's why our friends at Rehoboth Beauty Boutique are always there to take care of us. In fact, as you may notice, going into 2024, I got a lot of my hair chopped off, did a little different look for myself, and I'm loving every second of it, I gotta say.
I love it too.
Take a look at the experience.
If you're looking to change up your style for the new year, then you gotta check out Rehoboth Beauty Boutique. As you can see, I'm long overdue for a little love on the hair. As soon as you walk in, not only is Rehoboth Beauty Boutique elegant, but Jonava and her team will take amazing care of you. She chopped off a little bit of hair as soon as I walked in, and it already looked a million times better. But I wanted to tone down the blonde a little bit and go back to my natural hair color. So we had some fun. The shampoo, of course, little trim, snip, snip. And I already love my hair so much more. I wanted a little bit of a side bang. Jonava went ahead and styled it, and voila, new year, new hair, new me. So again, if you're looking for a fresh style, Jonava and her team at Rehoboth Beauty Boutique will get you all taken care of.
If these horses look maybe a little familiar to you, they should. These are not your average horses that you see on a farm. Leah, these are actually members of Ocean City Police.
That's right.
So interesting, and we got the chance to meet them. They are so cool. It's a really exciting opportunity we had to get behind the scenes and introduce you now to the horses on the Ocean City Mounted Unit. Corporal Matthew Foreman has been with Ocean City Police since 2002, starting as a seasonal officer in college, and since then.
Been everywhere from detectives to patrol to our booking facility, and now I'm a corporal on patrol in charge of the Ocean City Police Mounted Unit.
You may think he joined because of his experience with horses, but that isn't necessarily the case.
So horses are kind of like children or adolescents. They always like to play games, and they have great personalities. When I came into the unit and took over the unit in 2021, Moose was already a part of the mounted unit, and he became my horse through training along with Benson, taught me how to ride. I didn't know how to ride a horse at that point, and there was a lot of times where I thought I was going to fall off when we're doing things, and luckily Moose would shift and catch me, and I, was thankful for that.
In fact, most of the officers we spoke to hadn't ridden a horse prior to this job.
I've always been interested in horses, but I've never had the opportunity to actually work with them. The position became available, and I thought to myself, what better way to work with animals and interact with the community than on horseback.
Between training, being on patrol, and taking care of the horses, it is a 24/7 job. Training for the mounted unit means the officers have to get comfortable with the horse, riding it, even pulling their weapon while riding.
So if you haven't had any riding experience like me, first you start with the basics, just how to act and behave around a horse, and then how to ride a horse. And then once you kind of get a firm grip on that, you learn how to do your job. So not only are you doing police work, trying to enforce the law, keep people safe, keep your other officers safe, but you're also trying to navigate a horse through a crowd of around 100 people, your friends, and not only keep them safe, but also keep yourself and your horse safe.
Storm is not as reliable in a sense of he's always going to do the same thing. So a car you get in, you have your system, and every day is pretty much the same. With a horse, they have their own temperaments, and they're going to react to things differently each time they see them. So you always have to be prepared for the unexpected.
And these officers even take care of the horses while they're in the stables. I asked who cleans up after them. Yep, they even scoop what's left behind in the stables, if you know what I mean. But it all goes into building a strong relationship with the horses. And of course, the horses put a lot of work in too. They're trained while they're young, and when they're ready, they join police departments like OCPD.
We've been around since 1989, and like you said, you're one of three in the state of Maryland, which is an honor. And we always want to keep it going and be out there and be seen as much as possible.
Leah, if you couldn't tell, you guys, we had such a blast.
Yes, and the relationship between the officer and the horse is also really special.
So special. All these horses have such unique personalities. Yes. That was one thing they learned. Leah, one of them thought you were a snack.
Yes, and the other one liked to eat all the snacks. So there were lots of interesting personalities with the horses, but a really beautiful bond.
Definitely a beautiful bond, and that's why we're not done telling you about the Ocean City Police Mounted Unit just yet. Coming up after this break, we're going to really get into those personalities and why the officers who ride these horses, why they just love this job so much. So all that's coming in just a moment. You're watching Coast Life, and just a few minutes ago, we gave you some of the history and the background of the Ocean City Police Mounted Unit, the horses that you see probably on the boardwalk every summer.
Yes, that's probably, or events is where you might also see them.
Yes, definitely. But we also told you about how we just loved getting to know the horses' personalities so well. So right now, we're going to show you more about the horses and the officers who work with them. Storm, Benson, Riptide, and Moose are arguably the biggest and the strongest members of the Ocean City Police Department, and they work side by side with the officers of the Mounted Unit.
We have 4 horses right now. We go with a draft horse or a draft cross. So we have, our oldest is Benson, he's coming on 17 years old, and then our youngest is Riptide, who is 5 years old.
They don't just keep the community safe, but a big part of their job is interacting with the community.
When you see police officers out in public, you normally don't just walk up to a police officer in a car, on a bicycle, on foot, but you see the horse will bring people to you, and they're interested about the horse and to see, learn about the horse, why are you on a horse, and to pet the horse. A lot of people haven't seen a horse in their entire life.
I think a lot of times people come up and they're happy to see the horses. A lot of times we get people coming up asking me, like, for example, if nights I'm not riding on a horse, I'll be down on the boardwalk like, hey, where are the horses, where are the horses? So they're excited to see us. Just the interaction with the public is really a blessing in a way, because a lot of times the police don't get the best interactions with people. Usually we're there when things go wrong. So it's nice to have kids and families that we know normally we wouldn't have a positive interaction with come up to us in a fun time and be able to have a good conversation with them.
But it's important to remember, these animals are working. Just like a police dog, their space needs to be respected.
So typically on the boardwalk, when we stop, we'll allow people to come up and pet the horses and ask us questions. But typically if we're on a scene, we tell them to stay back a certain amount of feet. We'll point them to a bench or wherever they need to stand, just that way they don't interfere with the horses.
And just like all of us, they sometimes need to relax and be by themselves. They also enjoy a good snack.
Like I said, Benson, he's kind of set in his ways. He loves to eat. So as you're walking around, he's always looking for his next snack. He'll bite at any branch or bush he can find. He's also been known to snack somebody's hamburger bun off their plate as you're walking down the boardwalk. Not only learning how to ride a horse, but just developing like a relationship with all the horses. I primarily ride Benson here, and he's got his ways about him because he's the oldest horse here. But they're all unique in their own way, and it's just kind of great getting to learn all their little quirks.
Every night on the horse is just a fun night in Ocean City, to see it on the boardwalk and to be there, a part of the crowds, and see the families and the positive interactions.
By the end of the time at our stables, they were itching to get outside and play before another day of some hard work. Leah, that was such a fun day. It was so cold when we were there, but we didn't even mind. It was just so fun hanging out with the horses. Did you have a favorite part?
I mean, I loved getting to feed them snacks, but I also thought what was really interesting, like, you don't realize how strong they are. I mean, you do because of their size, but like, I was standing out there, and when we let them into the pen and they just started running, like, you can hear the thundering of the hooves, and you're just like, that is a big, strong animal.
Yes, definitely. It was fun seeing them out of their work environment, just seeing them have fun and play with each other and constantly try to eat Leah's jacket. That was maybe my favorite part. You were a trooper, but definitely. So make sure if you see them out on the boardwalk this summer, give your space, gently approach, make sure it's okay, but definitely say hi, because as you just heard, all those officers love the community interaction. It means a lot to them. We're not done with Coast Life just yet, however. Coming up, we're going to touch a little bit on some books we're reading this year, what we're really looking forward to for 2024, all of that when we return. All right, guys, before we let you go, we just want to share some things that we're looking forward to this year.
Yes.
See if you have any also that you're looking forward to. Leah, we're reading a lot of the same books this year.
Yes,
And
we
a lot coming
are.
out.
Because we've, Paige and I are big, like, I don't want to necessarily say young adult, but sort of that young adult fiction, fantasy genre that we've carved out for ourselves. That
Romantasy.
we very much enjoy reading.
Yes.
And if you've spent some time on Book Talk, you're probably familiar with Court of Thorns and Roses, Fourth Wing, Crescent City, all of those books that are really being talked about and popular if you also enjoy reading that sort of romantasy genre.
Yes, definitely. So we have a couple new books coming out, and so we are already planning our trips to Browse About.
That's right.
Because that's where I've gotten like all, I think there's like
That's where I already got,
20 books in these series.
I got Fourth Wing, I got Iron Flame, both from Browse About. I know that the next book in the Crescent City series is coming out. A lot of tears. We're getting ready. It's what we've been told to be prepared for.
My whole Throne of Glass series I got from Browse About. Even if they don't have it in
I'm working
the
on
store,
it.
they can order it for you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the staff is always so great about that. So if you made a New Year's resolution to read more, make sure you take a trip to Browse About books on Rehoboth Avenue in Rehoboth Beach. Even if you don't know what you're going to read, the staff will help you. They will help guide you to your next favorite series.
You know what else I'm looking forward to this year?
What?
Which I'm hoping, we think it's happening, Ariana Grande's new album.
Yes.
She teased it.
She did.
So I'm holding that to her. I
Me
hope
too.
that comes out this year.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, all right. A lot to look forward to, you guys.
Yes, even some to look forward to tomorrow. You know how much we love giving back to our community. We're going to talk about how you can join in the fun and raising money for the Surf Gimp Foundation. That's happening tomorrow.
That's going to be fantastic. For right now, you got to get your local news and your local weather, so we're going to send things over to Coast TV News at 5. We'll be back tomorrow. See you then.